The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.
Hello and welcome to another Soccer to the Max here, midweek, of course. I'm your host, Sean Garmer, here with me, Mr. Erik Watkins.
Don, seriously, we are really going to have to talk about you and this whole scheduling business.
They only made you have to wait an extra day. But,
but at the same time...
next week it's going to be horrendous, but...
Okay, between this and waiting an extra day isn't bad, but on the same night of a Game 7 in hockey...
It's not like they planned these Game 7s to happen here. We're complaining about... They moved it for something else. It was for some other reason. And then it happened that Game 7 happened. I'm
telling you, Don, just still, we're going to need to sit down and have a teeny little bit of a chat. Because, double overtime, Game 7, I kind of have a dog in the fight. I'm just saying.
So the Penguins won?
Yep.
So it's Nashville and Pittsburgh.
Oh boy, my loyalties are heavily divided.
Well, that's going to be fun. He is talking about next week. There's going to be 4 games that we got to watch on the schedule.
Oh, geez.
And one of them, I don't know how we're going to watch because it's on Unimas.
Wait.
I think you can watch it on Facebook. So, never mind. I'm looking at the wrong thing. There's 4. They're on MLS Live, and 3 of them are all at the same time. I have no idea how that's going to work.
Oh, fantastic! But is it like what, a 7 and 9:30, 8 and 10?
It's 7:30 and 8:30. So at one point we're gonna have to be doing the quad box.
Oh God! MLS Live, you can redeem yourselves by stealing that from NFL Red Zone and doing a quad box.
They have that.
I would be perfectly fine with it. They what?
You can split screen your thing 4 ways. I think it's only on PC though.
I was about to say.
It's only on PC. You can't do it. Obviously you can't do it like on any of the boxes like Chromecast or Roku.
What about
your phone?
What about tablets?
I don't think the tablet lets you do that. I think it's because your PC is probably the only thing that can actually sustain a quad box like that. So.
Mutter.
But yeah, so that's for the next week, midweek. Let's focus on this midweek here, and we might as well talk about the one game that did happen tonight. Sadly, my FC Dallas team did lose again, second consecutive loss to the Chicago Fire by 1 goal, 2-1. They did try, though. I'll give them credit for that, but Chicago was just... the goals all happened in the first 10 minutes, and then the rest of it was just some superb defensive work by Chicago to keep Dallas from scoring.
Well, also to Dallas's credit, they tried, and I'm going to tell you, those last... Well, not quite the last, but between about the 55th and 75th minutes, Chicago was pressing hard to get a third. To Dallas's credit, they held on their own themselves. So,
Matt Hedges kept David Beckham in check very well. Chris Sides had some fantastic saves, even saved the penalty at the end. That's one thing that Dallas has not lacked. Between Gonzalez and Sides, they have some terrific goalkeepers, and that keeps happening for them. Boston Schweinsteiger looked really good in this game.
Yeah.
Nikolic getting the goal. He continues his extremely hot, on fire streak that he's been on. Probably the hottest goal. the goal scorer in the entire league.
Yeah, and isn't he just like one off from leading the Golden Boot right now?
Yeah, he is one off. And he could, make it more if we, looking at the weekend. But I mean, it's Chicago is just on this roll. They've won 4 straight. Credit to them for going home and doing what you got to do. Dallas now on a 2-game slide. They got a big game coming up because they're in the primetime spotlight, the last game of the weekend against Houston. So
yep, the Lone Star Derby, which I don't know. You could have called this a trap game against Chicago. Hopefully that was the case, and you have a much better effort and possibly a win
I wouldn't call it a
Houston.
trap game now that they lost against San Jose.
Well, I don't know. I mean, from Dallas's perspective, it's one of those to where they could have been thinking ahead, whereas with Houston, yeah, they had a different mentality altogether.
Right. I think, I don't know, you have anything else you want to say about the game or anybody stood out?
How far off was I when it came to predictions? I mean, of course, Bastian Schweinsteiger.
Ha!
So, see, there you go. You're already learning the timing. I like that. He was serving them up on a plate. He had the key assist on the Nikolic goal, and I mean, he's been the driving force. Now the Fire, second in the East, second in the league. Didn't see that coming.
And the coaching too. I think I can't remember the guys. It's it's a foreign coach, and he has a distinct last name that I cannot pronounce for the life of me right now. So
something Czech. I'm pretty
yes.
sure it's of Czech origin.
So either way, I give him a lot of credit for. He goes and does the 5-3-2. Dallas is starting to kind of break that down, so he goes more to a 5-4-1. Dallas starts having problems breaking it down because you have less. I mean, you're at the first one, you're trying to clog the midfield up or clog that back line up by having 5 spread across. They add that extra in the midfield. It balances out what Dallas was trying to do. And I thought that worked. They had problems. They had to just be really direct. It wasn't working for them. That's not how Dallas really plays. And, Chicago was able to. So I give the coach some credit for recognizing and making the changes.
Yeah, and I mean, for FC Dallas, as you said, they needed to play a more direct style, whereas they love to really spread it out wide, let their wings do the work. And for Chicago, they beat Dallas with really a dose of their own medicine. A lot of switch plays going completely across the pitch. Some of their transitions was Schweinsteiger up the middle, but a lot of that generating the counterattack out wide and just smart play. Dallas couldn't keep up.
Yeah, I mean, I should note that Cullen Acosta and Maxi Arruti did not play in this game, who make up for quite a bit of the goals for Dallas. So, that should be stated as well. But, all credit to Chicago for playing the game they did and for Dallas keeping it close. And MLS, baby, 2-1, start off the week. And we got plenty of more games to come starting on Friday and going all the way to Sunday. Bit of a rivalry week this week, not only with Dallas and Houston, but you got Seattle and Portland as well. And I think there's another one that I can't think of right this minute. But we're going to go a little bit off the pitch right now. So this is the only time that we're going to do this, because the other major thing that we're going to talk about is involving the pitch, but in another worlds away in Korea. So the National Soccer Hall of Fame ballot for 2017 has been released, and lots of talk about one David Beckham being on this list. First time he is on this list. For you, those 5 or so years that he played for the Galaxy, do you feel like he is a Hall of Famer?
For what he did for MLS, I honestly have to say yes. I mean, not just his actual performance on the pitch, because coming from Real Madrid, a decent ways away from his prime at Manchester United, he still had a lot of energy and made some big plays, scored some big goals for the Galaxy, helping them not necessarily ascend, but really maintain their status as one of the premier clubs. Because he did that, and because of how MLS was able to capitalize because of that, I'd throw him a bone and say yes.
Yeah, I mean, he does meet the requirements of, number one, you either have to be so in order to be eligible for election as a player, just for people who don't know how this works, and honestly, I never thought about how this works until I had to start thinking about this. An individual must be retired for at least 3 full calendar years, but no more than 10 full calendar years, and have either played in at least 20 full international games for the United States. If played prior to 1990, that's 10 games. And then, or, if you're not international for the U.S., played at least 5 seasons in an American First Division professional league, and named to a postseason league all-star team at least once.
No.
So, I mean, you get the longevity there, but just one all-star team?
Well, think about it. I mean, now, for how they have it as like postseason, so they're not considering the MLS all-star games. They're basically saying MLS Best 11.
Yeah, like, I don't know why they don't call it that. Like your Best 11 team or something like that instead of...
Well, that's because you have the All-Star game mid-season. And for the longest time, up until, I'd say, 10 years ago, you had 2 All-Star teams because it was East-West, East-West. Then it went MLS against the U.S. national team, and now you have your run of matches against foreign opponents. So I can see why they have this specific wording like that, but the one wrinkle I see is once you hit the 10-year mark, you're done. Usually other leagues give you a teeny bit more leeway in that respect. Yeah. And then again, I guess they shorten it now. Well, they shorten it here because it's 10, but you're eligible after 3, whereas for all these other leagues, you have to wait 5.
Yeah, so you basically get a 7-year window where you need to get put in here. So I will run down the list here. There are a few people that are on for the final time. So current head coach of your Orlando Soccer City, Orlando City, SC, Jason Kreis. Last time he can be on the ballot here. And Chris Armas as well.
With this list, it's tough. So, as much as I would like to see him in the Hall of Fame,
of course, I mean, they could decide to push some of these people back a little bit. But
unless you have
we're going to give Jason Kreis one.
Yeah, but I mean, unless you have some sort of like veterans committee like you do with baseball,
Yeah, and this is a pretty stacked list. So you have, the David Beckham that we already mentioned. You got Greg Berhalter, Chris Albright, Joe Cannon, Steve Cherundolo, Brian Ching, Jeff Cunningham, who I feel like he needs to be in just from his MLS goal-scoring prowess. Tina Ferprong, Ellerston, Eddie Gavin, Amado Guevara, Kevin Hartman, Frankie Hayduk, Chris Klein, Jason Kreis, Eddie Lewis, Kate Sobrero, Mark Raff, Pablo Mastroeni, Clint Mathis, Tiffany Milbritt, Heather Mitz, Jaime Moreno, I don't know how he's not in yet. Ben Olsen, Pat Onstad, Leslie Osborne, Steve Ralston, Ante Wrozov, Tony Sine, Brianna Scurry, Taylor Twellman, Allie Wagner, and Josh Wolf.
How is Brianna Scurry not in yet?
I feel like we just feel really old right now. With a lot of these names.
Oh,
like growing up watching them play.
Sean, I got a birthday in 4 weeks. Don't say anything about getting old, alright? I'm trying to deal with that as is.
We're not that old, man. We alright. We're both, 30 or in the early 30s, so...
Yeah, when you have gray hair, you come talk to me.
Hey, I am balding, sir, so at least you are going to have your hair from the looks of it.
Touché.
So enough of about our personal, grooming habits here. Let's look at this. Man, this is a big list of people to talk about, and to think that probably about like 6 or 7 maybe are going to be doing this. Or going to be in this. I have to think that, like, I don't know how many times Jaime Moreno's been on this, but it's like, wow, for all that he did for MLS and DC United, and it's that same thing of, maybe not to the spectrum of David Beckham, but he's one of the guys that when I think of the early days of MLS, that's a guy I think of,
Oh, absolutely, and believe it or not, he hasn't been eligible for too long, as he last played for DC United just back in 2009, which would have put his eligibility starting at 12. So he's only halfway through. But again, if you're only taking about 7 or 8 of these guys, he's one of the ones that I would like to see in, but Christ, this field is crowded.
Yeah, it is. I feel like, I don't know how they deal with, do they always try to get a woman in? Do they not? I guess I could look up other Hall of Fame classes here, but yeah, I'm with you about, like, Brianna Scurry. I don't know how she's not in yet. You can make the case for Leslie Osborne as well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not giving predictions here. I'm just giving on who would be picks for one, both of us to see get in. I really feel like Jeff Cunningham. I don't know if this is going to be the year for him, but that's a Hall of Famer. The guy leads in goals and stuff. So.
Yeah, and again, he's the one, he just recent, so he only started his eligibility in 13, so he's still got 3 years left. This is tough. Why do they have to name so many? Because I feel like he might have a better chance next year.
Right.
Although I would like to see him in this year.
Yeah, I just feel like with such the high honors he has. Brian Ching, I'm surprised he's not in just from all the U.S. national team longevity and being such a key player for San Jose Houston.
Well, this is his first time on the ballot.
Yeah. That's true. Never mind. I forgot that he played for a while longer. I wonder how much the coaching aspect goes into it for like a guy like Greg Berhalter. He's just now starting into that. He had a decent playing career. I don't remember much from that. He played most of it. He's spent some time in Europe and all that stuff, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
spent some time in Germany. Long standing for the national team, but he was, as a defender, especially with how we were in the World Cup in '02 and '06. That '02, that was pretty memorable, but '06 was just one of those World Cups to forget. So,
Yeah. 02.
no, I said '06 was the one to
Oh
forget.
God. Oh, '06 was awful. Woeful, sir. Woeful.
This
And
is
oh, and
why.
1998 was just maybe the worst. Like
Well,
just,
this is why I don't have any high hopes for the Stars and Stripes this go around, because when it comes to playing in World Cups in Europe, we suck.
that is true. That's true. But I mean, there's times for it to break that where no matter where you're playing, you need to be playing well.
Yeah, we
And
could have broken that in '02 and look, or in '06 rather, and look what happened.
yeah, not trying to relive those memories, obviously. Look, I mean, this is a big list here. So, hey, if you want to hit us up on Twitter, at WTimSean, at Squid Sports Head, comment on the WTimNet.com posts about this podcast with your hopes for for Soccer Hall of Fame. Do you think David Beckham gets on the first ballot, being such a huge name?
He probably should, but I think this kibosh with trying to get his team, they may decide to teach him a little lesson. I don't know the politics behind that, but I'm going to open that door.
Yeah, I think he probably. I wonder if they would try to wait, see if they get the Miami team ever, and they try to tie it in with that, like that year he goes in or something.
Yeah, but clock's ticking a little bit faster on that one. They may decide, put him in, and then maybe that could carry a little bit more gravitas in getting the team.
Yeah, true. I don't know that. I mean, hopefully this would get him with his butt in gear of just, hey, look, I promised I was getting an MLS team to Miami. Let's do this. And let's take whatever. But he's very stubborn, so far not budging. And I mean, it is his money, so I understand he wants to spend it where he wants to see the stadium and all that. But yeah, so again, interesting list, the loaded amount of guys and women that definitely deserve to. Many of them deserve to be in. Gonna be interesting who they decide on here. For that game, or for that decision, and how many they're going to put in for that. You talked about referees not getting in for the, was it the under-20
Yes.
World Cup? Well, you don't have to worry about that because we do have Mark Geiger getting in from the U.S.
Okay.
I think C.J. Morgante and Harai Marufo and Joe Fletcher from Canada are all going to be representing in the Confederations Cup.
Okay.
So
I can get down with that.
And of course, just like you see at the U-20s, there will be VAR at the Confederations Cup. So interesting how that's going to play out. We did see some VAR. I'll be honest, now that we transition over to the evaluating the U.S. team after their first two games, I haven't gotten to watch too much of the other teams on the under-20 because, for one, the ridiculous time frame that they play these games at, and also because PSView decided that it does not want to record the games. It will do them as on demand, and then they don't always show up in a time frame that works for me. So, yeah, I've pretty much gotten to watch a few games here and there, but mainly just the two U.S. games. I'm going to try to get better about going forward with these final group games approaching now. That means so much. Let's see what happens. But before we talk about the U.S. games, let's get updated on the standings now that we've gone through 2 rounds of play here for the Under-20 World Cup, as I try to make my tabs less so I don't have so many. So, Group A, South Korea leads with 6 points. England has 4. Guinea has 1. And Argentina, dead last in 0. I repeat, Argentina is dead last in 0. And they have 1 goal in this entire Confederations Cup.
And that was early second half against South Korea. That kind of shocked me.
Yep. I mean, now they play Guinea, so they should at least get 3 points there. So they're definitely, I guess, still in it.
Well, they're still in it, but even if they get 3 points, that would just put them in consideration for best third.
Right. And then you have to deal with that mess. So
yeah, it's
that's
times aren't good, and I did say this group would come down as far as anybody qualifying. Argentina and England. England won the match 3-0, and look at where they are.
Yeah, and then South Korea, who's looking really good as the the home team. They just get to, let's hope that they're hoping at least they can get a point and stay at top of the group, fend off England and win Group A. And England, of course, all they have to do really is get a draw. I mean, they've gotten into second unless Guinea somehow is able to. I think there's they drew, so.
Well, they drew, and
it would still be by goal difference. So
yeah, and
Guinea would have to beat Argentina like 5-0 or something, probably.
Actually 6, because they have to make up a difference to get to second.
Yeah,
they would need to make up a difference of 6 goals.
Goodness, I don't think that's happening. I think Argentina has enough pride not to be having that happen.
Just do like they did back in '78.
Get that draw if you're South Korea and England, and then you. Guinea would definitely be in a good spot for the third place consideration, but we'll have to see. Group B that has Venezuela already qualified as they have 6 points. They play Mexico in their last match, who has 4. I think straight draw with Germany. Venezuela whooped Vanuatu 7-0. So they took it to them. Germany now has to just win, and their hope for the best best third. They need to make up that goal difference, though, which shouldn't be a problem against Vanuatu. But hey, Mexico took them lightly in it. They had to barely in the 94th minute beat them and avoid a draw. So,
They had to avoid a draw and then go on to a scoreless draw against the Germans, which really you could say 2 points dropped. But, well, I mean at this point, Germany, again, they've had issues taking teams lightly and doing this and that in World Cups before. I hope, especially for the U-20s, they don't. Because while Vanuatu may not beat you, they'll force you to think a little bit.
Oh, and these games. This is the game here at 4 a.m. Now I have to think about if I want to stay up and watch this because I want Venezuela to win that group so bad.
Well,
This is where I won't. I will. The lines of being trying to be objective go away here for me.
Well, I'll go ahead and I'll set this one. If it's on, if Mexico Venezuela is the FS1 match, I'll definitely set it to record and watch it later. I hope it is.
It probably is, because Germany, I'm pretty sure they probably didn't have Vanuatu on FS1 at all, just because I'm sure everybody thought they were going to be a lesser side here. So this is going to be an interesting, at least both of these here with, now it's surprising that the Group A matches got the later start time. So England, South Korea, and Guinea, Argentina are going to be playing at 7 a.m. So that's much more, regular time for people who might be getting up in the morning thing to watch.
For that one, of course, South Korea, home soil, that's like prime time, 8 o'clock at night there. So, of course, they're going to get the later match.
Yeah, certainly. England, and especially an England-South Korea match, that's going to be fun to watch as well. Then the next day on Friday, or I guess Saturday morning, you get I will be at work during the U.S. game, so that kind of sucks. But, so Costa Rica, who are in 4th place right now in Group C, tied with Portugal with 1 point. They take on the group leaders, Zambia, in Group C with 6 points. Zambia really just needs to get a draw to lock out Iran from being able to, get past them. Mm-hmm. And then Iran, who are in 2nd. I think a lot of people might not have thought about Iran being in 2nd here. They lost to Zambia. Well, you did. Certainly. Could Iran pull the upset there and then get another win against Portugal?
I think so.
And set things up clearly.
I was not impressed by Portugal and what little I've been able to see from them.
Yeah, they have not been impressive. I mean, they only got a penalty against Costa Rica. Costa Rica got a penalty themselves. And then Portugal only got that goal right at the end in the first game against Zambia. So, been very, very unimpressive. If Iran can pull what they've been able to do, hey, might be going in there with the 6 points. If Zambia will wind up probably getting unless they somehow lose big time, which probably won't happen. Of course, Costa Rica and Portugal will have a lot to play for, though, because getting a win gets you the 4 points and gets you much more closer to getting one of the best 3rd spots, possibly a 2nd if Portugal beats Iran too. So
yeah, and at this point, you talk about race to the bottom. Portugal and Costa Rica. Portugal is only ahead not on points, not on goal difference, but on goals scored 2-1.
Yep. That's how that works.
What does that tell you?
Uruguay, one of the favorite teams expected. They've got the 6 points. They're qualified. Now they have to go and play South Africa, who's been the team that's been beat twice. So you'd think Uruguay gets your full 9 points there. They lock that first seed up in Group D. Then Japan and Italy have it all to play for. 3 points each. Who goes to that knockout round for sure? And then if you don't get the draw, you might see yourself being knocked out here. So this is one of those, it's like it almost might benefit somebody to get if, you're thinking for that safety, do you want to get the draw? But,
Italy is going to be playing for the draw because they're ahead on goal difference, +1 to -1.
Right.
Japan, considering as how you're right next door and you kind of want to stick it to your neighbor / arch rival South Korea, you want to face them in the knockout stage. So the Blue Samurai are going to go for the win in this one.
Well, France, who have beaten their two teams that they played by a combined score of 7-0, Honduras and Vietnam are leading Group E, 6 points. They got to play New Zealand, their toughest competition, though, who sit at 4 points themselves. They beat Honduras 3-1, and they drew with Vietnam. So
yeah, a scoreless draw with Vietnam and a 3-1 win against Honduras. Toughest out of what? Yawn.
Hey, come on now. We're trying to make this set the scene here, and you're just ruining it. But
I mean, seriously, if this were the New Zealand full senior team, I'd say, yes, you're going up against a bunch of mailmen. But I can't even say that.
So, yeah, I mean, again, New Zealand in a good spot here. I mean, Honduras has pride to play for. They definitely might want to try to get the win. Vietnam, of course, if they get the win, they're also... And then they got to score a lot of points, though, to be in any kind of contention for that third spot. But, who knows? New Zealand, if they get a draw, they're already for sure in, probably, unless Vietnam can make up a 5-0. But the way Honduras has been playing, you never know, honestly.
Yeah, this is another one. 6 goals. Because New Zealand's a +2? No. I mean, no.
And who would have thunk it in Group F, final group here, Saudi Arabia beat Ecuador. They have 3 points. Senegal beat Saudi Arabia. They have 3 points. Ecuador is sitting at the bottom with a point. The U.S. have 4 points thanks to that, last second goal by De La Torre. They're leading this group. If they can get a win against Saudi Arabia, that is sealed, signed, sealed, and delivered pretty much. That would probably knock Saudi Arabia out. Ecuador has it all to play for to get second still against Senegal if they get the win. If they draw, then Ecuador's out and Senegal goes through in the second. So, interesting times for those two playing each other. But we're going to focus on the United States in these two matches. They had a wild one against Ecuador, with Ecuador scoring twice in the first 7 minutes. Jonathan Klinsman should have been sent off after the first goal because he stupidly went for a sliding tackle.
With sliding tackle studs up.
I mean, Klinsman, come on, man.
Especially in front of your pappy.
Yeah, in front of your pappy. Just, that's not the way they teach you. Go with your arms. Go and make yourself big. All that kind of stuff did not happen. He did have some nice saves later on. But yeah, the United States was sent for a whirlwind in that first 7 minutes.
He needed to have some nice saves, especially the fact that for giving up that goal, which he should have been sent off, and then giving up another...
If he doesn't score, he's sent off.
Yeah. So you give up that goal, and then Cabezas, with Ecuador literally just running wild down the pitch with just incredible speed. You blink, he scored again, or he scored.
And then later, Klinsman gave Cabezas the goal.
Yes, I was just getting to that. So you really gifted Ecuador 2 goals out of the 3.
Yeah, but I mean, luckily the United States had Josh Sargeant to put in some fine goals. Brooks Lennon with a hell of a cross on one of them. De La Torre with the point-saving goal in the 94th minute, literally like last second. Just
yeah,
absolutely.
It was like 10 seconds later, ref blew full time. I mean, once we got things together, we played fantastic, especially up the middle.
Yeah, because Anthony Herrera was horrible in that first 30 minutes. He figured it out. Da Costa was great on the other side, though. And then Erik Palmer-Brown, you, sir, have looked great in the 2 games. Much credit to him. He is fantastic in that center back spot. He's been great.
You're right. Maybe SKC needs to do a little shuffling around to get him into their starting 11.
I mean, I don't know if they could put him at defensive mid, which is where they did have him playing that for a little bit in the under-20 CONCACAF Championship. But, you know, it's something worth noting because he is very calm, very collected. He goes and makes the right positional choice. He's always there. He'll go out to the wing if he has to and make, a challenge. I love what I see from him. Cameron Carter-Vickers looked good, too, in the second game, coming back from injury. So, props there. So that center back pairing looks really good.
Gonna need it against Saudi Arabia.
Certainly, I mentioned they were a counterattacking fiend against Ecuador. Da Costa looks good. Klinsman is my big worry there in that back line right now because Herrera looked much better against Senegal. Ecuador seemed like much faster than Senegal to me. Senegal seemed a step slower. And of course, Ecuador has much more technique. Senegal, when they're on the ball, you never felt like you were scared they were going to score because most of the time it went wide, it went over the net, the cross was bad. You got to remember, these are 17, 18, 19, 20-year-olds.
Well, not just that, but from everything I've seen from Zambia, they use their speed, but they always find ways to finish. Historically, Nigeria, using speed, finding ways to finish. Senegal hasn't gotten the finishing part down just yet. And going back to Ecuador, maybe because they're not at altitude, which I thought would be a huge hindrance, and looking at the standings it is, but especially early on in matches, that lack of altitude is helping giving them a little bit of extra speed.
Yeah, and Ecuador only scored at the last, Saudi Arabia scored early and scored late, and then Ecuador scored to pull one back almost at the end. So it's not like, they went out and just... Senegal scored against Saudi Arabia and held them scoreless, so they figured something out there. Just interesting.
Yeah, they scored early in that one, so...
Yeah. And then that's kind of what was happening with that Senegal game, is the United States they scored. The Josh Sargeant goal was great again. What a turn by Sargeant, and then to hit it in the net, and then the United States just kind of held on. They were going for it, but at the last 25, 30 minutes, really felt like they were just holding on for that 1-0, and it kind of sucked to see. But when you've got the defensive prowess that you have, I guess I can't blame them too much. They did get Justin Glad in there to play for about 6 or 7 minutes too.
Well, with the kind of things coming up, fresh off of the near disaster against Ecuador, Saudi Arabia, Asian powerhouse coming up, I can see why they just wanted to hold on, get the result, and at least salvage something, because you go for it, then all of a sudden you screw up, Senegal counters, they score, then you're 1-1. Now instead of 4 points, you're at 2. You're fighting to stay out of the basement. I can see why Ramos was like, let's park the bus a bit.
Yeah, Gideon Salalem, you get the big news that he's out for 6 to 9 months with the ACL tear. That sucks to hear, but he was really a liability in that first game against Ecuador. And then when Derek Jones came in, that's what changed everything for that Ecuador game.
Mm-hmm.
And then he started in this game. He's playing defensive mid, and he was really orchestrating things in the first game. In the second game, Eric Williamson and Tyler Adams were tremendous. Tyler Adams just looked really, really good. And this under-20s, he goes box to box. He gets assists. I mean, he had a cheeky little back heel on that goal. I mean, so, I'm really enjoying what I'm seeing. I know we're missing the European guys from Schalke and everything, but they're still playing really well. It's that whole line of how Tab Ramos teams grow throughout the tournament, that seems to be happening. And I mean, it's interesting if this team can go far without those guys. Shows how deep the pool coming up is.
And it's actually setting up a good run because you have better opportunities to grow. Say they find a way to win the group. Very achievable. Then in the round of 16, you will be playing the runner-up from Group E, which, quote-unquote, worst-case scenario is New Zealand.
Right.
I kind of like my chances in that one.
Yeah, I kind of like the chances in that one, too. Not worried too much about it. I mean, then you do have to deal with winner of Group B, which is... Oh, God, it could be Venezuela. I don't want to see that, Lee.
Could be Venezuela, could be Mexico.
Could be Mexico, yeah. We talked about this, that it's possible they could play Mexico there in that second round there. I mean, they could also wind up playing whoever the third, but one of the best thirds. So, you could see a Japan or Italy, Portugal, which I wouldn't be too worried about, or...
the way the way it goes, Guinea, Japan, Portugal.
I don't know that I want to play Japan being that close to the home country,
Well, it could sink down to Italy. I mean, 2014 World Cups are just weird.
Yeah, and then, it's funny because, I think the U.S., if they were to win the group, they don't even have to go anywhere. They keep playing in Incheon, in the same stadium the whole time.
Yep. They would have to go to Jeonju, then Daejeon, and then Suwon for the final.
Yeah. I mean, they have to go to Jeon to play Saudi Arabia, but then they get to go back to Incheon to play... Well, am I reading the right thing? Maybe. I don't know if I'm
they go to Daejeon for Saudi Arabia, then back to Incheon, then over to Jeonju,
right.
Then back to Daejeon, and then to Suwon.
So, yeah, and then, after that, that's when things get a little hairy, I think, is you're playing the possibility of playing an Uruguay or something like that. Things get tough at that point. If you get past Mexico, or you're possibly playing a South Korea or England, if that's what happens. So, yeah, I mean, but I agree with you. I like the chances of at least getting to the round of 8, the quarterfinals. So,
that's where I had them going out. I had them going out in the quarterfinals.
Oh, I hope they don't go. I mean, you know how sad that would be if you go out to Mexico?
Hey, you know the familiar chant, #2-0?
Hey, it could happen again. No, I really would hate it to be going out to Mexico. And I mean, I don't know how I would feel about it going out to, Venezuela if they get that far too.
You heard me talking about the situation where my allegiances are torn. You have fun with that one.
That would really suck. But, yeah, so, maybe a semifinal place is there for the U.S. for the taking if they do well. But, so far they've looked, they survived that first game. Got better as it went on. They looked much, much better against Senegal. Let's see if they wrap it up well against Saudi Arabia on Sunday. And then just wait on for the round of 16 and where you go from there. With all accounts of it being New Zealand pretty much, unless one of those, who is it? Unless Vietnam makes some miracle happen.
Yeah. France would basically, Vietnam would have to win 3-0. France would have to win 3-0.
Right.
Then that's when things get.
Oh, well, if France loses, they still qualify, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, so that's why I say for France to win 3-0 to take that hit for New Zealand's goal difference. Vietnam 3-0 to bump up New Zealand's goal difference. And that way they both be at -1.
If I'm the U.S., I would like my chance against Vietnam, too, so.
Yeah, well, against Vietnam, we could just crush them and move on.
Oh God.
Yeah, yeah. I was on the verge of making a joke, but I'm like, you know what? No. I'm just going to keep going.
Let's not. So, yeah. So, the interest abounds here for this Under-20 World Cup. If you're not watching, try to catch it, during a normal time. I would say, at least record some of the, games. Especially the U.S. games, and watch them later. They've been
like I'm going to do. Record the matches. Now that you don't have to worry about the Stanley Cup playoffs for right now, you certainly don't have to worry about the NBA playoffs for now. You've got time.
And Josh Sargeant is tied with Sergio Cordova of Venezuela and Jean-Kevin Augustin of France for Golden Boot right now at 3 goals.
I wonder how that tiebreaker plays down. I know it's who has the most assists, but I'm saying who actually has more.
Well, I don't think Sargent's done any assisting. So, but I do remember Cordova possibly assisting on a goal. But, yeah, and then the next Under-20 World Cup in a couple of years is in Ecuador. So.
Oh, God.
That will be fun for everybody at that altitude.
Oh, yes. If I'm the U.S., I'm like, hey, we're going to be spending a lot of time in Denver. Get used to it.
At least those games will be on at a normal hour.
True.
But, yeah, so that's enough of the Under-20 World Cup stuff. When we talk about it on Sunday, we'll be able to talk about the last game for the U.S. and kind of where we're going towards round of 16 and basically closing out that group stage because those will be the last games of the group stage there. So thankfully that kind of falls great for us and where we do the show. But for those other games that we got to talk about on Sunday, we still got to do some predictions here. And I forgot again. I will remember on Sunday to make sure that I have our standings somewhere.
Okay, but you can at least write down these games and how we do with these predictions, so you can...
Yeah, that way. Let me get my notepad here. Okay. So, let's start off with, to be fair, I'm not counting NWSL predictions towards these. I'm just going to do the MLS predictions towards the standings, but we'll still predict NWSL games, which all of their games are... Well, they had that game that we didn't talk about, really. North Carolina beat Sky Blue. I know you saw some of that game.
Yes, I did. Talking about shooting, yeah, Williams oh boy, just gonna dance, gonna dance, then right in between two defenders is a hairpin from about 20 yards out, right into the net. And then on the second goal, it was just a crowd of players at the goal line. Courage tapped it in, and that was all she wrote.
So I guess we're already talking about NWSL. Let's do this. All the games are on Saturday. All 5 of them. Varying times. There's 2 at 4 o'clock, 1 at 7, 1 at 8, and then the nightcap at 10 o'clock in Portland. So Houston taking on Seattle. This is the lifetime game of the week. Houston currently near the bottom at 9th. Seattle in 4th right now. The difference is 3 points, 9 and 6 6 and 9 respectively. It's in Houston. What do you think?
I think Seattle can really shut them down because outside of Ojai, she really is connecting the forward attack inside that final third, and I think everybody's kind of sniffed her out with the fact that she will go wide one side or the other. I see the Reign taking this one, especially getting adjusted to the heat, 1-0.
Yeah, I'm going to go 2-1 on this one.
Okay.
I forgot to mention that we're going to also talk about the U.S. Women's National Team roster being named for the next set of friendlies, but we'll do that at the end here. So then you have the other 4 o'clock game is Chicago Red Stars against North Carolina Courage, who are finally coming back on a win. They are still in first on 15 points, of course, because they have the extra game played here. Do they keep the winning streak, or does Chicago, who's currently in second, so a battle of 1-2? What do you think?
I think Chicago can stop the winning streak. Not upset, but I think they can pull out a draw.
Are you going to go... I'll go 2-2.
Yeah. 2-2 sensible. See a bit more scoring out of this one.
Sky Blue and Orlando at 7 o'clock.
Oh, Rutgers. I've had a beef with you for now well on 15 years. It's a very, very, very long story. I don't think Orlando is really... Marta's come on, but I haven't seen too much really from anyone else. I think Sky Blue takes this one 2-0.
You know what? I'm going to say Orlando.
Okay.
With the win. 2-1.
Alrighty.
Kansas City against Washington. The Washington Spirit. Another shot for Mallory Pugh to make her debut and get the win. Or her second game and get the win. You think Washington does it? Get off this snide here?
No. I mean, they can eke out a draw. Probably a scoreless draw, but I don't see them winning.
I'll say 1-1. What do you think?
Yeah, scoreless. 0-0.
And Portland and Boston in the last game.
Goals abound in this one.
Yeah, Portland and Boston drew at 2s last time.
I think this one, Boston might one-up them. And as a common saying I heard when watching the Japanese highlights, Boston takes this one by the odd goal in 5.
I'll say Portland gets it on the 3-2. All right, so there's your NWSL for the week. Now here is the I think this is only is this the whole team, or is this just the... Okay, this is the full roster. All right, so the U.S. is playing... Why can I not see who they're playing here?
Sweden and Norway.
Okay, yeah, Sweden and Norway, and that will be during the week where there will be no MLS or NWSL games. So there's no NWSL games June 10th or 11th that week, because that will be the week that they'll be playing. So Ashlyn Harris, of course, we talked about her getting injured. So she is not part of the goalkeeper crew here. You got Alyssa Nair and Abby Smith, so probably Alyssa Nair is going to be getting that start there. Abby Dahlkamper, Julie Ertz, Jaylene Hinkle, Megan Killenberg, Kelly O'Hara, Becky Sauerbrunn, and Casey Short. All of those play in NWSL. Midfielders, you got Morgan Bryan, Lindsay Horan, Roosevelt, Carly Lloyd, who's playing for Manchester City right now, Ali Long, Samantha Muse, and Megan Rapinoe. All those play in NWSL. And then you got Crystal Dunn, Cindy LaRue, Alex Morgan, Kristen Press, and Mallory Pugh, who's made the team. And only Alex Morgan right now is playing for Olympique Lyon. So, I don't think you can... The team kind of picks itself right now.
Yeah, I'm wondering how fit LaRue is after coming back, healthy baby, all is well, and how they're going to pick really their top 2, maybe a Morgan Pugh combo.
I should mention that Ashlyn Harris already announced she was missing 8 weeks. So, ouch.
Yep. Yeah, that's
gonna hurt.
Big time. Big time.
Tobin Heath is also not going to play because she hasn't played for Portland either. She's had a back strain. So, and she hasn't played in an NWSL at all this season so far. I like the Dahlkamper pick. I like the Casey Short, bringing her in as well. A lot of the other ones are kind of the expected crew, so I don't really have a whole lot to say there. Jaylene Hinkle being in too.
Yeah, this from the NWSL crop, which you're almost exclusively drawing from. Yeah, this is the best you really got, and it's down to who's going to make the starting 11. So no real argument, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, no big arguments for me either. We'll see how they do against Sweden and Norway. Obviously, it's gonna be some more blowouts, or is it gonna be some close games here?
It's Norway potential blowout, but Sweden.
Yeah, you got the history there. Let's see how that works. I should note that the MLS Disciplinary Committee has chosen to... how do you feel about Jose Guillermo Ortiz with his Spinaroonie fake foul that he got fined for his simulation?
Good. He should have. I mean, Oscar
that was so silly.
Oscar worthy, yes. Dancing with the Stars or World of Dance worthy, yes. But on an MLS pitch, no.
All right, so we talked about Chicago and Dallas. Well, I don't know why this thing is deciding to not go forward right now. Oh, come on. Don't tell me you're being weird. That's not good.
I got them up if you need them.
Okay, yeah. So the Friday game is what now?
Toronto and Columbus.
Ooh, that should be fun. You got rivalry going on there.
This is... Oh, what the hell? There's a name for this. Is it the Trillium Cup?
Yes, the Trillium Cup. Yeah.
Yes, I knew it was some weird flower thing. Yeah. Yeah. Look, I saw that and I'm like, what in God's name is that? Who in the hell? What did get... Okay then. As far as the actual match, I see Toronto taking this one.
Yeah. I mean, Toronto's been doing their thing. I think it would continue here, but it's in Toronto, right? It's in Toronto. At 7 o'clock, it's on MLS Live. Man, the Crew have been playing pretty well as well, so you know what? I think the Crew go on the road and get a 2-1.
I say 2-1, but I say it for TFC. I mean, right now, we'll see if they can keep the magic of BMO Field once the CFL season rolls around in about 5 weeks. But now that they've still got the pitch all to themselves, yeah.
All right, so we have the big rivalry game Saturday at 2:30. It's on Big Fox, Seattle and Portland. Woo! Big things to live up to. Of course, it'll probably get cut off in Miami because that's how they work here. They're assholes.
Well, not to mention the fact that if you ever wanted to tailgate with bacon, eggs, and pancakes, this would be the match to do it.
What do you think? It's in Seattle. Seattle haven't looked good, but neither has Portland at times.
1-1.
Think so? Yeah. I think we'll get a draw here.
Especially, I mean, what in God's name? Like, 11:30 in the morning. Ugh. I don't know, maybe that's me. That doesn't sit well with me.
Yeah, like you said, just have a good breakfast at the stadium. I've
seen that done before for college.
I mean, why not?
Games.
Yeah, so, why not?
In a griddle, I mean, you are unfortunately on the opposite end of the country when it comes to maple syrup territory, but you can still do something.
So Vancouver, speaking of on the opposite side of the country, against DC United.
Oh, for the love of God.
Saturday, 7 o'clock on MLS Live. At least it's not an RFK, so they might actually do well.
Yeah, but...
Vancouver's coming off a Canadian Championship win, and they've won 3 out of their last 4. DC, you know, they just, oof.
Probably looking for something to smoke up in that part of the world. I mean, not that I know from experience, but what they have up there is some of the finest on the planet. So
I'll go with a 3-1 Vancouver.
3-0. The way the DC, no.
Maybe being away from RFK, they'll be happy about it.
Yeah, I mean, if you can get through it, if there's a gigantic cloud that comes up above the pitch, then maybe it's 3-1. But otherwise, no.
New York-Boston rivalry happening here. The Red Bull and the Revs going at it. It's in Red Bull Arena at 7:30, MLS Live.
The way back from the way back, when this was the Revs and the Metro Stars.
They did draw 1-1. I think the Reds drew 1-1 with TFC last week. Last week. Revs are doing their thing. I'm gonna say that a draw here with these two.
As much as it pains me to say this because of who it is, I think the Revolution can take this one.
All right.
Pencil me in for a 1-0.
All right. I'm just writing down the actual teams. I'm not writing down points here for this, but Minnesota taking on Orlando. Kevin Molino gets to return to Orlando, or no, not really. He gets to face his old team in Minnesota.
Yeah, and you know who else gets to face their old team? Adrian Heath.
Yeah, Adrian Heath, who got a nice fine for stepping on the pitch, by the way. And, this should be a heated game, interesting game here. Orlando wants to set the record straight that they can get wins after they're going 5 games losing. And Minnesota have lost 3 of their last 4 too. So this, I could see another draw, but I'm gonna say Orlando takes it 2-1.
I think because Adrian Heath wants to stick it to him, and because it's Minnesota, 2-2.
2-2? Okay.
Yeah.
And Real Salt Lake going to be missing some folks here against Philadelphia Union. I feel like Philadelphia's, even though it's in Salt Lake, I feel like Philadelphia Union's taking this one. Give me a 2-0.
Ooh. This is interesting. Yeah, 2-0 Philly. Well, the reason why I say interesting is because I wanted to make sure of the weather. And it's
That's
not
fair.
going to... Yeah, it ain't going to snow. Philadelphia takes it.
Is it going to snow in Colorado when they play Sporting KC?
Let's find out, shall we?
I mean, Colorado's been so helter-skelter this year.
No. Rain. It's actually going to be nice and pleasant. Next week, even more pleasant. No wonder my brother wants me to visit. SKC takes that one. 2-0.
Alright. I'll go with the draw of 1-1. And then we get San Jose, the big rivalry, San Jose and LA Galaxy.
The California Classico.
At Avaya Stadium, at MLS Live, Univision. You can watch it, you can watch it on Facebook in the U.S. if you don't have Univision. So get your phone out, get your tablet out, and put that Facebook on. For this big game here, Galaxy have been looking good. San Jose have been interesting too. This smells of like at least 2 goals by both teams. I don't know if there's a third one in there, but
I was actually going to say more 1-1 because I don't know if Hika can do to the Galaxy what he did last week, but Yeah, 1-1. I mean, Galaxy impressive, but I think San Jose defensively can hold them pretty much in check.
I'm going to say San Jose gets that 2-1 win.
Alrighty.
Gets on the Classico. So Sunday you got two games. Atlanta and New York City FC on ESPN.
Oh, good Lord.
The Almiron show at home against David Villa and New York City. Ooh, this one could have goals aplenty here.
4-3 Atlanta.
Holy jeez.
You said yourself, goals abound, and with Maxi Morales and Vieira's 4-3-3, and the fact
I'll go 3-2 Atlanta. I don't know about 4 goals.
Hey, Atlanta's done it before. In NYC, they ain't at home.
FC Dallas in Frisco at Toyota Stadium for the Texas Derby. 8 p.m. Eastern on FS1.
I feel like there should be some sort of epic trophy for this.
There is. It's a cannonball. Or a cannon. Dallas. Dallas is winning, damn it. Dallas is winning 3-1.
I'm going to give you a win, but I'm not going to go that enthusiastic. 1-0.
Alright, so there's our predictions. We'll see how this goes starting on Friday. I haven't written down this time, so there's no I don't know. At least we'll have this week. I don't know if we'll have any of the other weeks. But, we didn't do this every week. I got to sit there and go through and see how many midweeks we actually did where we did these predictions. But, alright, so there's your MLS lineup for this week. Some interesting games. I love the rivalry week stuff. It's going to be fun, certainly, to get through here. Well, until we see you again on Sunday to talk more under-20 World Cup action, and of course MLS, NWSL, and whatever else is going on. Enjoy your soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, and we'll see you later, everybody.
Go Predators! Keep Nashville SC away!
The following podcast is a W2M Network original production. Visit W2Mnet.com for all of our other great podcasts, plus news, reviews, articles, and opinions from the worlds of wrestling, video games, football, and entertainment.